Most women aren't stuck because they aren't working hard. They're stuck because they're actually interrupting their own progress, especially if you are somebody that is already consistent in the gym. This can look like cutting calories and macros, doing more cardio, lifting heavier weights because you're told you're supposed to lift heavier. You try to restrict harder. You feel like you need to become more disciplined. But every time you diet, you end up looking like a smaller version of the exact same body. Or you do lose weight, but then you just end up gaining back and you don't actually know what to do next. So, you're stuck because your progress keeps getting interrupted. You cut too soon, you don't know when to adjust your plan and how, you change your plan every time the scale fluctuates, you don't know how to measure progress, make objective decisions, and instead of your results building and compounding over time, they keep resetting. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Taylor. I'm the founder of Goal Strong Society. I help women stop doing everything and start doing what actually works so they can build lean, strong physique without constantly restarting. So, I want to talk today about why your body actually isn't changing. But the thing is that you're actually starting in the wrong phase. So, you're always in a calorie deficit, not building muscle intentionally, and changing your plan every time the scale fluctuates. Essentially, women believe that cutting calories and losing weight is the way to change their body. And this is what I like to call the reactive cycle. So, what that means is you're changing things every time your emotions or the scale changes, or even if your pants feel tight, for example. So, what this looks like is you cut, you stall, you panic, you eat more, you gain weight. You cut again. And essentially, you keep going through this cycle and you're never actually getting further ahead. You might even actually be regressing in terms of progress. So instead of your results actually building over time, you keep resetting yourself. So, with that being said, where should you actually be? What phase should you actually be starting in? This is a big question that a lot of women have because we've heard of the different phases. We've heard of reverse dieting, cutting, building, maintenance phases, and it can be really difficult when we look at our own progress and we're like, okay, I know I need to lose body fat or I want to lose body fat, and this is where I think I need to start. And the thing is, that's not necessarily where you actually need to start. So it depends on three different things. So first is your starting point. What is your current body composition? Do you have muscle on your body? Two, your dieting history. How long have you been in fat loss? How long have you been under eating? How long have you been yo-yo dieting? This is really important as well. You may not even be aware of if you are or are not in a calorie deficit. Next is your current muscle base. This is incredibly important and one of the most overlooked parts of your fitness journey. And especially if you have goals to look like you work out, you need that muscle base. And something that a lot of women get wrong is they think that they have a lot of muscle when in fact they actually don't. Fat loss actually reveals your body and building creates it. Building muscle creates it. So I had to learn this the hard way myself. So I've definitely been in your shoes. I want to just kind of show you two side-by-side comparisons here. First photo is I lost weight. I lost about 25 pounds here, and I essentially became a smaller version of the exact same body. My goal was to look like I work out. Did I get smaller? Yes. Did I lose body fat? Yes. But I had the exact same look. I was just a smaller version of the same body. And over here in photo two, this is me actually building muscle. So yes, I lost body fat. I got to a smaller version of myself, but now my focus was on building muscle. In the next slide, I want to talk about our methods. So the controlled momentum method, this is how we choose the right phase so that you keep making progress. This doesn't require you to be perfect. It just requires you to have the actual strategy, structure in place, and then obviously having a very realistic lifestyle and plan that you can continue to be consistent with. So we want to protect what's working and build momentum from it. So this is our three-step process. So one is determine your entry phase based on your current body composition, dieting history, muscle base, and metabolic capacity. Not everyone starts in a fat loss phase. Number two is evaluate your body's response. So progress trends, strength, energy, recovery, consistency. Actually knowing how to evaluate is what we're doing working. What data do I need to be looking at? And when do I actually change that plan? So that goes into step three as well. So make objective decisions. So we need to know how much time to give things and how to actually evaluate the productivity and effectiveness of what we're doing. Because if we just only expect the scale to go down, if that is the only thing that we're using to decide what do I do next, you are going to stay stalled, and that is what's going to prevent you from making progress. So, not every client of ours starts in a fat loss phase. Not every person should start in a fat loss phase. Some start in a reverse diet, some start in a build, some start in a cut. The difference isn't effort, it's about starting in the right place. Okay, so these clients here, they started in a reverse diet. So, they were chronically under eating, always on a diet. Food intake might have been like this as well because they weren't tracking anything and there was no consistency there when it came to nutrition specifically. Obviously, we're not seeing visible results as well. So, what we did was we restored their intake, built metabolic capacity, so boosted their metabolism, and they were able to lean out and when their foundation was actually supported. So, our goal here was to build that foundation, get consistent, know what to focus on, build muscle, and the reverse diet isn't their end goal. It's essentially just their setup for success. And that was their best next step. So fat loss isn't always about eating less. It's about having a body that can respond so that we can make progress. So all of these clients did not eat less in this situation. So client number two, so these ones started in a building phase. So fat loss alone doesn't create shape. These clients actually needed more muscle. So we increased calories, focused on their execution of their workouts, as well as their nutritional consistency and their foundation. So their physiques changed before we ever even went into a cut as well. This can be a combination of maintenance and reverse dieting. Essentially, cutting calories was not the optimal way to lose weight, but these clients really needed to focus on actually building muscle. So the next time they went into a fat loss phase, they actually saw a change in physique and shape. Next is this client in particular actually did come to us and we did start in a fat loss phase. So she actually came to us tracking macros. She was eating enough. She had a solid muscle base. She knew how to work out, but we had to get her into a proper training program for muscle. And then we took her into a calorie deficit. So her foundation was really strong. She was at a great starting point to actually go into a fat loss phase. So it made sense for us to do that. Next is execution. So phases aren't magic, okay? A reverse diet, fat loss phase, building phase, maintenance, these are not magic. These are simply nutritional phases that are not meant to be forever. So execution and timing are literally everything, not just about choosing the right phase, it's also about executing it properly. Okay. Knowing how to actually work out, knowing how to actually hit your macros, how to stay consistent, how to navigate weekends so that you are consistent, how to know when to make changes, right? That's number two. Next is knowing when to hold. When do I actually say, hey, this is actually working and making a change right now would be counterproductive? Momentum builds when your strategy is aligned with your goal and your approach is actually realistic. So if your goal is to look like you work out, you haven't been seeing progress. You've been at this for years. And what you need to do now is stop guessing what phase you should be in, what your starting point is. I hope this training was beneficial for you. What I'd like for you to do next is actually DM me the word phase, and you and I can have a conversation of what I actually think that you should be doing next to start to make consistent progress without the extremes.